Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome to part 2. All right, so I just want to make sure you are on the right video, right? This is part 2 of War Room 74. If you haven't watched part 1, please quickly right-click. There's a thing there, just right-click on that. Watch it on a new tab or just click on it directly. Start off with part 1 because the introduction has to make sense. In part 1, I talked about market sentiment, what the Fed plan is, the Fed U-turn, technical bottom in the markets. All of that stuff is there in part 1, and then we looked at a lot of signals: Nasdaq, S&P 500, US30, Bitcoin, Ethereum, the dollar, Euro Pound, NZD USD, Euro AUD, and silver. So that's what we did in part 1. In part 2, we're going to look at NZDCAD, gold, Euro USD, Euro Swiss Franc, Nzd Swiss Franc, NZDJPY, EURJPY, EURNZD, and EURCAD. And I won't be talking about a lot of outside the box things because I've already covered most of that stuff in part 1. So I suspect part 2 will be a little bit shorter, all right? But, maybe breaking up the war rooms into 2 parts is a better format. You will have to tell me in the comment section. I don't know, right? But if you don't say, I'll just keep designing things the way I see fit. So please do talk to me. Please talk to me in the comment section. I don't ask for much in general, but I'm going to ask you guys, please help me get to 1,000 subscribers, because then the algorithm will really pick up 365 Trading Academy and start to, put it in front of other people, algorithm-wise might be interested in trading, so we can grow as a channel, but also spread the truth, right? The truth shall set you free. And I think that's what we do here when it comes to markets, right? So just like in part 1, we discussed this every day and every way. I am getting better and better as a trader. You got to affirm yourself that all the time, but you got to take the steps of getting better, right? So step number 1, seek market knowledge. Check down the link down below. Take the course. If you haven't taken the course, war rooms are not enough. And I think in part 1, I proved why war room information by itself is not enough. In fact, war rooms is literally the last stage in that cycle. I'm happy you're here. I truly appreciate you, but for your trading career to really blossom, so you can literally live off trading, which is what I think most of you want to do, is to secure a lifestyle around full-time trading. Trader war rooms won't really be the only way, or won't get you there all the way, because of the market dynamics, the micro analysis that I can't do with you in these sections, right? The war rooms are once a week on Sundays, and sometimes we wait for 2 to 3 weeks for these setups to come true. Sometimes they start tomorrow, right? It just depends on the market. So what you need to do is to have information, supply and demand analysis information, to supplement what I'm doing in the war rooms, so you make your intraday setups and your swing setups, and you actually start to grow your account. Right, so in the course, you really want to master, not just watch my lectures, not just go through them. You want to master the basics. Module 1 and Module 2 are the building blocks of all my 6-figure traders, 109 of them, proof of concept, 110 if you include myself. Right, proof of concept is there in the academy. You really have to master the stuff and see it replay all the time. The back test, the forward testing, the actual trading, right? The trader's process, right? And number 3, keep up with the podcast. Working on your mindset is very important. I announced in part 1 that the podcast is back, so look out for that tomorrow, 1st of August, our first episode of the podcast. And then finally, what we're doing today, which is Traders War Room and just being engaged, right? So I'm just going to jump straight into the charts, right? There's really not much more to do. We've already spoken quite, intensely around all these other things in part 1, but please do watch part 1, right? So we ended, I told everyone to take profit on natural gas, in part 1. So if you're in that trade from the previous War Room, it's been a beautiful 4-week swing. It's time to get out, right? For me anyways. Right, so the next chart to do, straight on to the task at hand, is NZDCAD. And you can see I'm still out, man. So we closed this on a beautiful sale, but I never took the buy. I know for a fact I do not have NZDCAD running. And I would like to find out why. Was it incompetence on my part for getting to set up pending order, or... Oh, yes. Okay, now I remember why. It's just there's no clarity. I don't like areas of value, by the way, that are clustered together. Right? I don't like unclear you know, where you have to work overtime on a governing time frame, working overtime on a governing time frame just to understand what is going on. So, for example, what is going on here? Was this a demand? I don't think so, because the imbalance is not sufficient, so that was not a demand. Then price came here, and then with one green candle. Then what was that? Complicated? Yes, that's the first one. Then you got a touch, but there's this whole cluster right next to my area of value that almost feels like a basing, right? But one would argue it's some type of consolidation formation. I don't like that, right? Because time and time again, markets have shown, especially on smaller time frames, that when you have a cluster like this, say on the H1 or 15 minutes or 2-hour time frame, etc., most likely it will get broken and markets will come to the lower demand. This is a monthly chart, so even if that does happen, because price is fractal, it might take time, right? So this is why I didn't take the buy. I guess I extended trust issues on it, right? So we had a sell the last time we spoke. I hope you guys made a good money, right? This is not close, but now in terms of where is price going moving forward, and is there a trading opportunity for us, we would really have to wait and see, and by that stay focused. So let's quickly remove a couple of notes that we no longer need, that we were using as we were selling this beautiful asset. Just give me 2 seconds. Go to the weekly time frame. All right, so I'm going to remove the close here. Right, so you can see on the weekly time frame, prices slowly but surely starting to resuscitate. Right, you can see it's starting to make its way up. I just want to see, what the areas of value look like on the weekly time frame, because that also can be very telling. As it a cluster, filled place, etc., etc. Right. So on the weekly time frame, I would tighten my area of value to mark that, point there. I'd move this white line. The white line would have represented, my proximal line where I would have entered if I was going to get into the buy. I'm not in this buy. I didn't buy NZDCAD, right? I just closed after the sale. But you can see the markets did come back perfectly to that area, right? There's this, weird miss, right? By technical pips, it's like it's an unfilled order, and that demand then gets broken as markets then come in for this demand that we've marked out here. So I would go with fresh touch there on the governing time frame, and let's see what happens when we come back into time. All these are hit and misses, and then boom, markets come back and sit on top of that proximal line again, right? So now they retest. Now, if this is a valid demand, then one would argue that NZDCAD is about to take off, because the retests are generally more violent. They do run for a very long time, right? Looking at the chart now, we've got a situation where NZDCAD has for the longest of time been formulating lower lows, lower highs, over a span of months, if not years, really just working, the downtrend from about February 2021, so last year February, and break there, you can see something along there, another one right there, and then here we are. So if markets are to challenge this trend, that they created themselves, and you get in long, you just need to be very sure of yourself. So the biggest clearing place that I'm absolutely worried about on the governing time frame is this area here that I've marked red. The red was probably when we're selling on the smaller time frames like daily, but now we must also consider it as a significant part in the chart, because this is where price will first, come across some type of resistance, let alone a supply. We've got a breaking off in pattern here. Price drops, price breaks structure. When price breaks structure, markets come back, tap the supply, then price drops straight into a demand. This was a clean sell. Like there was no maths needed, right? But now the question is, do the buys here have enough, motion to go up? Because this is a weekly supply. Let's see if this weekly supply, just real quick, has any type of support on the governing time frame. No, it doesn't have any type of support in the governing time frame. That is to say, there's no governing supply for this red area here. But it's still quite a significant place to think very carefully about what you want to do with your money. Right? We don't know how to understand these things, and you're really not part of that group that's registered for the course. This is one of those charts that I would suggest you leave because it can get very technical as we drop down to our lower time frames. Right now, when I look at the daily time frame moving forward, because I really want to understand, how much room, buyers have to run, right? So this is the sell that we took all the way down, but now we're coming back to this sell. We want to really adjust the zone and see if we can, capture a couple of things, right? So that looks simple and basic to me, whether it's version blocking pattern or you're looking at, a strong trial at a peak supply. There's something called a peak supply, which is different from other types of supplies, right? You have to look left as well. There's a version blocking pattern that seems to have been tested and ran, right? So this is like a quite historically now a beaten up area, all right, but it does have potential for a pullback. Why? You had a version golfing pattern, and then you had the fresh touch and then price lift, and then you had the retest, which ran very deep, right? So again, historically, for me, I wouldn't take a sell there because for me, my rules tell me you are done. We're done in this area, but the supply is not broken. So also me, I wouldn't buy and assume I'm going to go through it. Remember, I'm a swing trader in general. So as I swing, I'm looking for clear paths. Like I'm looking for, I want to work today. Right now, I'm at work right now, War Room 74.2. But I want to get paid for this trade 2 months from now. Because today, I'm getting paid for the work I did in March, April. One of the trades we closed, like, look, for example, natural gas, right? With the work you do now pays you for the future. So you got to keep working so you can keep having money in the future. That's how swing trading works. Swing trading, long positions, find the supply, find the demand in the higher time frame, multiple time frame analysis, all that stuff in module 1. Master that stuff because that's what price does. So because of that, if I was a buyer, I'll be forced to exit here. Not because I believe there's a lot of sell pressure, but because the supply is still not broken. So anything can happen, right? So yeah, I see no opportunities in NZDCAD personally for me, but I'm pretty sure some of you guys who are good at begging, some of you love to beg for opportunities in the market space. You take anything that will move, then the opportunity exists, right? If you look at Akini Hashi candlesticks, right? They kind of like say, look, man, yeah, there is a pressure coming pattern here, but it's not really a big deal. It's part of momentum, so that's only supply, that's the fresh touch. Therefore, be careful because there is a possibility that this could happen, right? Which makes me even, more scared of taking any type of buy setups. But honestly speaking, this is a dealer's choice, dealer's gamble, especially if you're a 365 student. I trust your judgment. You're going to have to really dig this thing, work with the H4, H1 daily time frame, those 3 charts after you've decided on a position. But look at how markets closed on Friday. So on Friday, markets established, and this is kind of like those trades. I remember when my little girl was like within her first year, this is the kind of stuff I used to trade, NZD, AUD, because we were up anyways, right? When we got a newborn baby. So I traded a lot of the Asian markets, right? So the same thing with scenario analysis with the London session. You do it with Asian markets if you're up at midnight and all those crazy hours. But I would really be interested in how there was a New York order block here, and markets came back to it the following 2 days, or the 29th, right? And so markets might try to push up from there, all right? It's just an assumption. There is some type of inclination of an upward momentum right here, but it's not yet that clear, all right? One could make the argument of higher highs, yes, I've seen, but it's not yet, fervently that clear. And then there's also, small things like this to deal with as an intraday trader or a swing trader, right? That, well, are you just going to randomly buy here? So imagine buying here when market opens on Monday in a few hours. Your stop loss has to be all the way here, and your take profit has to be there. Like, this is to me looks like a bad business decision, right? So I'm gonna make notes on my trading journal here. NZDCAD. I think I have a code for this, but I'm not taking it. No signal. NOS. Right, and that's just for me to say I don't know. It's not clear enough, and I'm not gonna force markets, guys. When the markets are not clear, it is okay to walk away. I don't think I say that enough, and I do apologize for that. Like, it's okay. It's okay to say This chart isn't clear. I'll come back after a week. I'll come back after 2 weeks. Still unclear. See you next month. There are 1,000 plethora of assets to trade, right? I trade stocks individually. I trade the baskets like Nasdaq, right? I also trade the components like Google, Apple. There's thousands of stocks to trade. I trade almost every crypto token under the sun on FTX. I'm never bored. I am functionally never bored. There's a trading account whose password I forgot, and I had long positions in there, but I just hadn't opened that account in a long time because I've been working on specific stuff. And I'm so happy I forgot about that account, right? I now have 20K to play with, right? It's just been growing by itself. There are many things to trade and many things to be okay. Like, oh, look, I'm okay. I'm not trading that right now, right? So let's move on. Gold. Right, gold, sold it, then got out. Never took this buy ever. And I think I shared the results of the sell that we took all the way up there. I actually haven't been in the gold market for the last 2 weeks, ever since I got out of this beautiful sell. Right, but let's recap. Why was I bearish at gold? Because gold was dropping. That's why, right? And this was designed by Smart Money. If you remember, I gave you guys like a small piece of information from COT data, right? That also proved, that they would be reducing gold and really bringing it down, right? And so gold is just something to look forward to, because you'd think gold right now would be up in arms, right? Because there's a whole lot of inflation, right? Gold's actually been dropping throughout the whole inflation drama. At 9.1%, gold was still tanking. Okay, so there's like a little bit of market manipulation, sure, but there's also a lot of like market discouragement, like a complete disjuncture of basic fundamental principles and what institutions are doing. And that's why I always say focus on what the institutions are doing. Because the institutions wake up today and say inflation is 9.1%, the Fed is full of trash, right? The Fed isn't right. Inflation is not yet peaked, but let's still sell gold because retail traders are going to try and buy, right? You can't fight that logic. You can't fight the let's sell gold logic if that's what they're doing. Because even if you're right about fundamentals, if the money is pushing price down, right, you and your 100, 200, or 2,000 US dollar account are going to suffer. Right, but then gold has landed onto a very significant area of demand, and this is the I don't want to trade zone for me, because there's a demand for demand, a cluster and a cluster to leave the area, ranging. And this to me, many years ago, well, not years ago, but a while back, this to me definitely felt like a bullish engulfing pattern that ended this cluster. And this also felt like a very deep tap into that area of value. And then this felt like a new type of complicated 365 series of the demand, which obviously created a very tight area of competition right there. And you can see in February 2021, price came and left. August 2021, price came and left. And this is where we are now in July, August of 2022. And there's already been a lot of buy pressure, right? So this is a rejection. See this big wick here? It's a big rejection for the month of July, right? So you can get two theories. Number one, price can come and fill the wick, or number two, markets can base up like this for the month of August now. And I'll really have to look at COT to determine the validity of this demand. What are the institutions doing with gold right now, right? Because that's a big question. That's an absolutely big question that I just don't want to answer wrongly. But let's have a look at the chart. So we've got a potential sitting on a governing demand. The weekly is going up, like I said, right? So weekly is pushing to the upside. I'm not in this ups momentum trade, but to me it seems like while the dollar is falling, gold is taking advantage of it. Remember, in part one, we looked at the DXY. DXY was our sixth chart in part one, and we saw that, look, there's still a little bit of room to go. But on the weekly time frame, this now looks very attractive. On the weekly time frame, this is the next time you'll hear me, preaching and singing about gold would be somewhere here. I don't know if there'll be a fresh area of value for my entry, because this is quite a heavy heated area. We already sold there, President. This is big sell we took on gold for that lasted about 6 weeks, 4 weeks, give or take. Those of you who follow me on social media, on Instagram and Twitter, I did keep you very much updated about this gold trade. Very beautiful gold trade. but markets could return, you know, somewhere up here, right? So let's move to the daily. Right, so in the way of this big cluster that we just drew, where I said markets could move to, you can see for yourselves that, you know, there might be you know, some type of, you know, a block there, an earlier sell. So let's pull up the Fibonacci because we've got all the components we need to draw Fibonacci. We've got a swing high over here and a swing low. I'm going to draw a downward Fibonacci because I'm bearish. When you're bearish, your Fibonacci starts top to bottom. When you're bullish, right, so I'm looking for a bear retracement. I know it's just left to demand, but I'm still quite bearish. Right, and you can see that this area of value that I've marked out here sits perfectly at the golden ratio. You know, I cannot resist a good Fibonacci golden ratio. It's not even fair to ask me to resist that. So I will have probably a small lot size there. I am aware of the fact that I am playing with fire, but I will have a small lot size to try out and see what happens there. I probably, this will be one of those trades that I'm going to put an alert on. You guys know how to put alerts on trade, right? You put an alert, you pop it, and then, you know, markets, if you've got the app, right, the app will show up. And what I like to do with these alerts is sometimes, see the alert there, just click, you type what you want, you know, at this range, this belt, at the that, at the that. You just say notify on app, show pop-ups, and email if you're one of those people. And then you just tell it what to do. But the reason why I like to send an alert for a trade like this is before I take the trade, I want to quickly go check where the dollar is. Right, correlations, markets correlate. So I want to quickly make sure that the dollar has fallen and the dollar is about to hit a demand. So that when my dollar hits a demand and my gold hits a supply, I'm selling gold, and I am guaranteed investors won't be confused where to throw money. Dollar is at a demand, so it's now time to push the dollar up anyways, which adds more sell pressure to gold, right? So that's what I would like to do here. You can see, you know, bearish engulfing pattern, retest, you know, annoying consolidation, then price finally left there. So this would be nice to take here. If this works out just fine, then I'll sell it all the way back to somewhere down here again, right? So that's gold. Ladies and gentlemen, that is gold, ladies and gentlemen. Next chart we look at is my favorite, second favorite. It's my money maker though. It's my money maker, EURUSD. Not much to say, man. I did 2 videos of scenario analysis. Then I did in part 2, I told you is the thing is just going to keep going up no matter what happens. NFP, Fed talk is gonna do its best to go back up. So it consolidated during the whole pre-Fed release, and now we're back to looking green because there's some supplies, you know, up there. I don't think there's, you know, any time to waste on EURUSD, right? So this green zone that you're looking at is the broken demand, right? This broken demand that I warned you about long before it even happened, right? So it's time to now start drawing, you know, new areas of value on the main swing chart, and that is the fact that Euro AUD, Euro USD, Euro SGD. Let me just quickly double check if my correlations are stuck in my head. Where do you get all these crazy combinations? Leroy, look, trade, arbitrate, beautiful broker, lots of cool things. This is Euro SGD. Yep, right. So all these little charts that I keep telling you about, right? They correlate. They move the same way. We've got a clearance of demand somewhere down here. Markets clear demand, right? And once you master these things, these tools, you trade everything. You get your hands. This is the work. This is the work. May God bless the work of your hands. This is the work that you gotta do, right? You'll start to see an interesting pattern that these charts, man, they move alike. Like so, EURSD I haven't closed it. I have not closed this trade for months, and I don't know where the bottom is, right? I've locked profits just above this 365 candle. I'm not sold that it's like a great bearish engulfing, you know, pattern, right? But for the most part, it is, right? It is just a slightly smaller, right? But I don't like it personally. Let's remove this, right? But yeah, I'm holding this nice and easy on my arbitrate account, right? There is literally no problems. My stop loss is above, and I started selling this thing a long time ago. But look, EURUSD, Euro AUD in part 1. I did this with you guys in part 1 today, right? Same setup on the governing time frame, right? Where, okay, cool, we're creating, there it is there, a new bearish engulfing. We're creating more sell pressure. Then we go to the main mover, Euro USD, and I did a big video on why Euro is going to be weak. On the live stream, I told you that even if America is a recession, there's going to be a deeper recession in the Euro. I mean, I'm doing my best, guys. You know I owe so many other videos, but are you using the stuff that you already have? The stuff that you already have should be making you lots of money. But anyway, so this is my Euro USD chart now. Right, so there's this supply here. Markets fell into this red zone. This red zone is a temporary demand. You know, you can see it. There it is there on the left. Super cool. This is basically 2002. Just before another financial crisis. This is part of that Fed bottom that I was talking about in video one, the 2003 Fed bottom, right? Starts somewhere here, and markets just went crazy, right, all the way to the financial crisis of 2007. So that's where Euro USD is. If Euro USD is to break this, demand, then all systems go, right? We really are looking for another deeper drop. And personally, long term, this year, next year, long term, I see it happening. I honestly do. I have not been wrong about my Euro USD, so we shall see, right? So let's see if we've got any opportunities that I feel like I'll just be repeating myself. I literally trade Euro USD at least 3 times a week through scenario analysis. I risk anywhere between 63 to 100 US dollars per trade, and I get anywhere between 400, sometimes 600 US dollars, and sometimes on the market opening and market execution, which I don't always advise. But if I get it right and I've got such a beautiful feeling about it, I can even go a standard lot size, only risking 40, 50 bucks because of how tight that zone is, and make a whole lot of money. Please watch scenario analysis, right? Private students, I'm about to run a whole series for you that won't be on YouTube, just for students only. But for everyone else, it's like really easy. Like, so while I wait for these big moves, right? Remember this chart here? I haven't been on it since Wednesday-ish, but I'll be back on this week, right? Scenario analysis, very, very important. You must have a scenario analysis for USD chart. Let's go to the 1 hour time frame. Like there's absolutely nothing crazily good and satisfying as this. So this was the demand. I posted on social media, by the way, that, oh my goodness, price left me, by 1 or 2 pips. Then I moved on with my life. The following morning, I was tagged. This was the day of the FOMC. And then I tweeted, I said on the public Telegram group, I don't know about this supply right now that FOMC has said what he has said. So just be careful. Markets arrived and the supply took us all the way back down. It was a beautiful buy, just easy 300 bucks. Came back down 200 and something bucks. And then I haven't been in the market for the last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, sorry. But there it is. And you can see, the freshness, fresh touch, blah, blah, blah. All the rules. Scenarios is just does well. And markets, Euro USD, for those of you who are not really, paying attention, has been in this annoying little range for a while, all right? So now I'm looking for a break out of this range. I'm looking for a break out of this range from the smaller time frames to feed into that bigger time frame directional flow. So yeah. So anyways, I digress, but it's only because I want you to win. Right? If this is too much to understand, take the course so that you are literally flowing with us. Right. So back to the weekly time frame of Euro USD. Right. So this is an area of value that we marked here on the monthly. We now need to kind of like make it a little bit neater, right? All of this you will see, it's a beautiful supply, but it's not within the governor's range, right? So for now, you kind of like have to deal with what you have. This is not yet in the governor's range, the one above. So we want to tighten stuff inside this yellow zone, because this is where markets are going to come and contest with each other, the buyers and the sellers, right? When I'm looking here, I'm trying to find, significant imbalance, at least for the first one, and I don't. But what I do find is the fact that there is another bearish engulfing pattern inside that, right? So it's a nested supply within a supply, which sometimes can be tricky because markets could still try and honor that, right? It's not a clean imbalance, but you can get an imbalance if you count properly, right? Then we've got break of market structure. And if you're into BOS on a higher time frame like the weekly, you're going to have tough questions because you need to answer who broke it. Was it the bearish engulfing supply or the supply above? These small details matter for smart money concepts anyways, right? They absolutely matter. right? And then all of a sudden, we have price rallying back up. So markets are coming back here. And I remember in my scenario analysis video part 2, I did a lot. Let's see if I still have the chart. Let's see if I still have the chart. The Pepperstone or Saxo, one of the two. I did it for you. I drew, break of structures, basic stuff. There it is. There it is. Right. So the scenario analysis video is still on YouTube. Part 2 is where I broke down EURUSD and I say this like a week ago, whenever part 1 was, part 2, sorry. Said we're coming here. No matter what happens, we are coming here. All right. High risk, we're coming here. There are 2 supplies. Blah 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 blah. And if you come on the daily time frame, you see what I'm referring to. Right? So this is it. This is all I'm asking you to master. Take the time to master to make some money, right? So through and through, there we go. So this is what we're looking for. So I'm going to go back now to my main chart, and then we're going to see if we can reforecast the same type of analysis, right? So on the weekly time frame, it looks a bit messy because we've got this zone and that zone. This zone being your governing time frame zone, and this being your weekly supply to supplement both, right? And markets are moving up. Now, on the daily time frame, now we need to kind of like start to narrow things down. We can see here we've got that break of structure, right? Just barely sitting right there. And we're going to remove this out of the way as neatly as possible. All right, I'm satisfied with that. And now we've got, some type of consolidation and markets moving up, right? And then we've got that, right? Bearish engulfing pattern up there. That situation, and etc. And every time there's been a break of structure, by the way, on this chart, especially if you go to see my EURUSD part 2 video, right? There's always been a corresponding supply that is willing to push price down, and so that's where the probability comes in, because one of these supplies is going to do it. And I told you that the cluster here is such a mess that I'm going to take a trade somewhere there and see if that's going to be the one to do it, or markets can push a little bit higher like this into there, and I'll have a pending order there and see. Then I'll have a very small lot size that can also cover the entire area in the event that markets go all the way up to there. I'm looking at this area here, right? But this is a touch and go type of thing. The sensitivity of this trading setup is going to be on the smaller time frame. Price is fractal. So if you know how to trade supply and demand, you will work out your entry point when the time has come. But that's the long-term direction for EURUSD, right? There's nothing much there. If you're looking for buy setups, go find them in the smaller time frames. There's not. I feel like I've whooped EURUSD like a dead horse now. So get your money. Next, we've got Euro Swiss Franc. The Swiss and how they love their chocolate. Right. So let's go to the governing time frame. Right, still pushing all the way down. Let's see what that red line meant. Why did I draw a red line? Oh my goodness. Yes. We remember we spoke about it's been a while since we looked at this chart, man. We spoke about how no matter what was going to happen, these long wicks are because of the Swiss franc in this whole situation, right? But euro is weak, blah blah blah, and this week was going to get filled. And look at that, violence upon violence, right? So I'm not in this drop right now, and the reason why I'm not in this drop, if you watch this war room a long time ago, I was honest with you in the war room. I told you guys that I hate charts like this, but I'm not sure if there's valid demand here. I'm not sure if price is going to get there and bounce. So because of that, I couldn't enter this trade. But now that markets have done what they're doing, all right, now that this has happened, now I can happily camp down here, because I now know where the supply is. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to have to rely on a lot of retail traders and maybe institutional traders. I don't know what they're going to do, but I really hope that this is perceived as a historic support, right? And they push price up. That's all I can hope, because that's what I want. I want to be part of that sell. Just don't be careful not to get left behind. Let's say they go with the complicated 365 pattern, and then they say, no, the area of competition is that deep, right? One way to deal with that is the Kinihashi, and the Kinihashi is saying, nah, it's all good, bro. Keep it there. Kinihashi is saying, focus on that, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, all right? And then moving forward, we're going to see if we can then get clarity in our multiple time frame analysis, right? I don't know if you guys remember where I was debating, should I sell, should I not sell, will that demand break, blah, 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 blah. Short-term sells, yes, were nice, but I really wanted a proper long, and now I'm thinking, damn, wow, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 8 weeks of just pure selling, just euro weakness, right? So this is what we're looking at now, right? So you saw on the governing time frame, that's what we're looking at, but now the area is gotten a little bit nicer, a little bit tighter. You're going to have to be patient for this. Patient, right? You're going to be very patient for this to play out, but it will play out in the event. Maybe you use smart money concepts to jump on the bias all the way up there if you want to make money, right? So yeah, there was this little sell that I took, but had I known, right, that one day markets were going to do this and rip it, oh man, I would have been so happy. Right, on the daily time frame, and you see on the daily time frame, price does get a little bit choppy, right? Green days, red days, green days, red days. It's just to psych out retail traders. What we also want to look out for is the perfection in up here, right? There's slight problems up here, right? The first supply seems broken, and the next supply, doesn't do a great job of leaving immediately, but when it finally does, this is what happens. So it looked nice on weekly, it looked nice on monthly, but now we get to the entry time frame and we are having major problems, right? So this is where I would want to enter something that looks like this. Only because if I use normal candlesticks, it's not that clear. I don't want to lie, and I don't want to miss it. So I would rather have a steady area of value, right, like that, and I still get my 1:3. At the very least, I still get my 1:3. I hope I get my 1:3. Let's see. Sell it all the way back to that red line. That's 1:2. Let's make the adjustments that we need to make there. Right, so that's definitely 1:3. All right, cool. So I still get that, right? So it's just a waiting game. As we are waiting, markets have not given us a swing low yet, so it's not really a good time to throw a Fibonacci. But it is a good time to take note of the fact that they have created a significant supply on the daily. Right, again, there's nothing to support that supply on the weekly or the governor, but on the daily, it is there. All right, so this might be a cowboy era, it might be a short-term sell, but it's definitely something to think about, to look out for, because that's definitely going to happen first. Reverting back to normal candlesticks, and I'm trying to find a way to justify this. So there was a bearish engulfing pattern somewhere here. The markets came in to retest it, right? So if you draw it more like this now from normal candlesticks, you would realize that markets created an imbalance, filled it, and left. And then on their way down, it's very important. It looks like I'm going to trade this in the later future, because all of this stuff, all these little games still need to be played. This needs to be filled, that needs to be filled. Dealer's choice, it really goes crazy. All of these supplies could be valid, right? So I'm looking more up there, but if you want to take your first risk, then good luck here. But I'm really looking more up there, right? So that's Euro Swiss franc. The next one is NZD Swiss franc. NZD Swiss franc. Oh man, I'm not in any of these trades anymore. So that's why let's look at some Swiss franc. I really do hate Swiss franc pairs, right? Because of the long weeks, really, to be honest with you, right? So we've got this situation here on the governing time frame. Markets seemingly have cleared the demand, as far as I can tell, and have gone for a lower demand. But remember, these are the Fed technical bottoms I spoke about in part 1, right? March 2020. Right, so this is the lower demand. I'm not in the buy at the moment. The sell was definitely delicious. Got out somewhere there, but I am not in the buy. And I don't know if we should trust the buy. No, folks, because you see there's a cluster here. It's not clear, right? There's definitely some type of demand there, obviously. But you got a fresh touch, now you got a retest. And the retest is not doing a great job, right? Personally, again, as usual for me, don't care who uses their money, smart money, liquid data providers, retail traders. I would prefer you guys push price up, then I can sell it back down. That's how I personally feel. I feel like I'll be so much better there, right? It was a beautiful drop, beautiful trade. No longer in it, so let's remove that. And then let's do something like this. So this is what it looks like on the daily time frame. This is my special area of interest right now, because there's still a lot of money to be mitigated there, right? It just depends on how choppy. Look at this supply-ish, right? Markets kind of curved down, but I'm pretty sure they're going to get back up soon, right? So I would wait up here for Nzd Swiss Franc because this is too choppy for me. I don't know what's going on. This is not a good enough place for me to trade, so I would wait for that. Be patient for that one, right? So Nzd Swiss Franc done. NZDJPY. Haven't looked at this beautiful markets in such a long time, well, this group anyways. So it's nice to catch up, right? I'm hoping you guys took profit here a long time ago. And just, I mean, I know I repeat it all the time like a broken record, but NZDJPY, monetary policy divergence, JPY weak, other currencies naturally just become strong without even trying. Any currency that's busy increasing interest rates against JPY, who is not, right, just becomes strong, right? So this is the official main target up there, and we are consolidating. You remember we spoke a long time ago about this buy, like just wait for it. Price is gonna come. Well, and it did come, right? But as soon as it hit that supply, we got out. Now markets since then have just been ranging across, right? So for me, it's a no trade. I hate ranging markets. I feel like that's when there's no liquidity in the markets. Just I want you to know this: they will create it. They will create it, and they will lower you in to create it. And so ranging markets, no thank you. I love things that trend, things that move. Less trapped in that stuff, right? So this ranging market, I'm not in it at all. Got out somewhere here, never took the sale, just got out. And really the preference would be for price to drop personally, right? I know I can't get that, but this is a beautiful demand, which was only tapped once. So it would be very nice to get a retest. This is what I'm asking for. I'm asking for a break out of this range into a retest there. I'm asking for a lot. Let me tell you that right now. I'm aware of it. But so close to the target, so I'm asking for a lot. It's not going to happen. So what I think might happen, and maybe I need to go back to the weekly time frame. I can't remember if I showed you the weekly time frame. Right, so I'm just quickly redrawing the original profit target zone, which was this weekly daily supply there. Let's just quickly look at the weekly, then I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. All right, so these equal highs or wanna be equal highs, this is all liquidity grabs. All right, I'm just gonna tell you this right now. These are all liquidity grabs. All right, and the reason why markets is frozen there. Liquidity grabs was they created a range on daily H4. Retail traders keep trying to do the support and resistance stuff. They keep eating their money, right? So this is for me. That's why when I see markets like that, immediately I'm not there for it. On the weekly time frame, I can't see a good place to park and wait. Right? I honestly cannot. So this market might have to miss me. I'll see what's going on H4. But right now, if I was desperate to take a trade, the first buy trade I would take would be down here. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I don't want to lie to you. I wouldn't. There's also downside liquidity here. Right, so it could make this demand a good place to be, but I'm just not about the range, right? So I might wait down here. Let's see what that looks like on normal candlesticks. If there's an order block there, then I'll take the trade. Let's see. Failed bearish engulfment, right? And then we had some type of inducement, and then markets went up, markets made contact. No. Look, you could go here small lot size, but just know it's high risk. All right, I'll repeat myself. You can come here, very small lot size, high risk, or just don't trade it at all, right? I'm going to mark this red. I'll think about it again tomorrow and see if I want to take it. But it doesn't seem like after this beautiful buy that we've had much luck in safe, high probability setups, which is what we really want. I'm not buying anything here. I'll have to wait down here. And then there's also the possibility of maybe waiting for a retest down there. Maybe that's a better risk, right? So, it's fishy. NZDJPY, if you're not in it now, you're screwed. We actually ate a lot from this chart last year. I don't know whoever has been with me and how long you've been with me. This was a very good money maker last year, right? So, and we're just outside of supply. So it's interesting that price is starting to slowly lose steam right now. EURJPY. EURJPY. You guys doing good? Doing well? You're doing well? You're doing good? You're doing well? I hope you're doing well. Right. Oh yeah, I got triggered on Friday and I was like, when did I set the spin in order? And I realized I set the spin in order a long time ago. So I hope it's not an expired trading idea, otherwise I'm going to lose money. But let's just double check. Yeah, man. Ouch. Right. So again, remember, why do I want to buy anything? JPY at the end, euro in front, or NZD, monetary policy divergence, right? That's why markets keep ripping through these supplies like it's just hot knife through butter, right? There's nothing there until markets get all the way up there, because this is the main target, and then we can start to reassess. We're getting close to October, eh? Tomorrow is the 1st of August, so that's when we expect the yen to start to strengthen just a little bit. But, one would argue that markets almost tried to arrive, but did not. For me, they did not, right? Even the area of competition was not mitigated. And then all of a sudden created a bearish engulfing pattern. Then forced our buy orders to get triggered, right? Daily, trade. So now, I don't know. I don't feel that confident about it anymore, but it's too late, right? If you're with me, we are now officially triggered. So now we're going to have to wait and see. But you can see there were some equal highs, right? Pretty grabs, and all of a sudden we had our first, full drop. And to make matters worse, I'll just show it to you right now. With a very significant supply here, which I wasn't even paying attention to. I literally came back to reanalyze this on Friday when I saw all of a sudden, I'd been triggered in the charts. But we shall see. This is now a waiting game. Euro is currently also going through the Multis week. So who's weak? It's going to be a case of who's weaker than who, Euro or JPY. But this is potentially a problem or a good trade, right? So if this, gets a stop loss hit, there's a high cowboy area here. Fundamentally cowboy, because there's not much correlation on the weekly time frame, right? You're now literally trading daily blocks, right? Now, if I was to draw let's start off with a bullish Fibonacci, because I still believe price should go a little bit higher to touch that thing, right? Then this daily order block is literally by that 50% area, strong retail area, and the higher the area without confluence is within that golden range, right? So you never want to trade a chart because of a tool, Fibonacci by itself, but the fact that there is a significant demand, it is fresh, right? Gives it. And then at least the Fibonacci confirms it, despite the fact that we don't have a weekly order block. To me, it kind of like substantiates the potential for it, right? But now it's a wait and see game. What I would suggest, if you're in this trade with me, if you're like a set and forget trader like me, and you've now found yourself triggered, is the moment we get lift off, accept making $0 on the trade. So just quickly break even, and maybe price will come back and take you out, type of thing, because there's not much room. So on the H4 time frame, you're thinking you're making money, then boom, there's a supply. So as soon as you can break even, close with that $1 profit, $10 profit, whatever it is, or just break even and hope, and just wait to see, right? Or if you are, full of conviction of the trade idea, then please take profit here. Get out immediately here, right? Don't hold any further than this area of value, right? Then we'll come back and reconvene with EURJPY, right? If there really is a need to take things up, because price is very close to its target, but it has not met its target. But it seems to be the case. NZDJPY gave us the same feeling. EURJPY is not giving us the same feeling. So maybe, and it doesn't mean it's over, right? It just means markets are consolidating, getting more buy orders, and we might be looking at new MTPs, major turning points, new highs, like on the charts, etc. All right. So second last chart of the evening, Euro NZD. Right. This is clear. We're going down. Spoke about it. Did it? The markets did go down. Like Euro AUD, Euro SGD, Euro USD, Euro NZD has now created another supply. Right, close. I don't want to delete the green zone. I want to see what it's about. Right. So I see here I had according to my, I remember this. I had a stop loss hit here. Markets actually kicked me out before bringing me down. I definitely remember Euro NZD. Very, very naughty. Markets came, hunted the crap out of us here, took us out, and then created. I'm going to delete this note. So I haven't been on this market since then when I took a loss here. But it's now time to kind of like, readjust the charts now. So with the stop loss hunt, they created a very nice, sell point, right? Created a nice market value gap there. There we go. Markets are going down. Break of structure-ish. Markets continue down. There's the green zone that I just removed is a broken demand. That makes sense because markets are going down, right? I'm just trying to clear the chart as I explain what I'm seeing, right? So now we've got potential targets, right? This white line that I drew here. And the question is, will we get a retrace? Of course we will. Already so many annoying green candles, right? So that I wanted to look for a retracement before price gets all the way down there, but you can see how it moves, right? You want to get a retracement here, stop loss on there, right? So this market has been very unforgiving, unfortunately. Go Kinihashi for a second. There's really not much I can do for number one. Number two, also markets have not created a swing low, so I can't even draw a Fibonacci. I can say that, the few times price will encounter a valid demand, price will remove it, right? So, watch out for these levels here and this lot there, right? So watch out for those three areas. Unfortunately, price is going. I don't know what's going on here, but to me, it would be very difficult to draw a real area of value. You draw it like this, maybe, I don't know, and then try your luck there. It's possible. Okay, that's very possible. It's just not attractive to me. All right, Euro NZD tick in the sense that I've told you, but I don't have a trade, right? So I'm gonna write NOS for me, no signal. Because it's not attractive to risk money there. All right, I'd rather wait here, to be honest with you, right? I just don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. Right, EURCAD is the last chart for the night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you watched part one. I hope you liked it, and you liked it so much that you came to watch part two. So please don't forget to like this. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers, guys. I don't really ask for much, but this one, I need your help. Simple, always like the videos. If you like them, leave me a comment and share. Sharing helps a lot. Like if you like trading, you probably know 2 or 3 people on your Facebook timeline who like trading. Just tell them there's this weird looking guy who generally seems to know what he's doing about the markets. He is regulated and licensed 3 times over by the South African Financial Institution of Financial Markets, by the FCCA, with a master's in industrial economics, a master's in technical analysis, one LLB degree, but it doesn't really help us here. Right, but yeah, he knows what he's doing. He knows his stuff. I would appreciate that. Right, EURCAD. Right, sold into this red area. If it's red, it means I didn't even bother buying because I was not really a buyer in this market. I was a seller, right? But our profits got hit, and we haven't come back. Right, I'm bringing these charts back because I'm not in them. I want to see if there's any opportunity. Right, so. EURCAD, will it have a new supply created like all the other euros we looked into? And it looks like it tried to create a new supply. We need to assess how valid that new supply is, number one, right? So, yeah, it did. So it's the same pattern, right? I mean, most of those markets made the new supply this month, at the end of this month, July, but EURCAD really seemingly was slightly ahead of the curve there. Right, so markets are now in what to me seems like an overly tapped zone, but it's not yet broken. So there's nothing I can do right now. August tomorrow starts a new month. We might get, a push to the upside. If we do, I know it's just strategic. It's just to, tap that. So I won't be in that buy. I'll be waiting for the sell. But where are we going to sell? Let's see. Weekly time frame, I hate it when there's a lot of consolidation inside my zone, because that's buying and selling, in a place where you just want those orders to be untouched, unfilled until it's time to follow the trend, right? All of this weakens your area of value, right? So it reduces your odds of probability on that supply or demand zone being, secured, right? If I do something like this, then you can see there was a bearish engulfing pattern and a retest and markets drop, right? So, it's starting to smell fishy, but I'll still consider taking a sell trade there. What would be very nice is if, however August opens, it closes, it kills this, just takes this out, then comes back up, right? So we want a complete removal of this red area. That would be nice. I don't know if we'll get it, but that would be nice. If we don't get it, then at least you've got that much room to move. The daily time frame, ladies and gentlemen, which is really where the party is at. I want to refine these areas for us before I go join my family for supper. I've enjoyed doing this with you, War Room 74. I'm looking forward to getting to War Room 100. Hoping by then we'll have 1,000 subscribers and people will, reap the benefits of these sessions, right? So we've got, nice imbalance, nice fill, markets went down, and this is nice. This is also looking nice. So what you'd want to see is some type of Fibonacci confirmation here, because it's unfilled. Yes, there's a supply above. I completely agree. I see it, blah blah blah. But what does Fib say? Fib says there's going to be a bearish engulfing pattern. Sorry, a bearish Fibonacci, right? Swing high, swing low. So top to bottom is what I'm saying, right? The golden ratio in the month, right? So that's a good place to wait. I would definitely try my luck there. I will definitely try my luck there. Why? It's a good place to wait for retracement. Okay, my people, I appreciate you. I wish you well. Have a good week. May money come to you because you are worthy of it. Become worthy of money. Money will come to you, right? Never lacking for anything. I bid you well. Shake my hand. Thank you so much for watching part 1 and part 2. And I'll catch you during the week. Don't forget, we start our podcast this week. Podcast, very important. And yeah, I'll see you when I see you. 365. Peace.